jungle.
Yo, what's up? Welcome to Deep Dishes. We're on the way to one of our favorite Mexican spots. We're going to talk to you about it when we get there. We're excited. Hello, Katanya.
Hi, people.
All right.
Listen,
Wow.
got me trying to talk and drive, hands on the wheel at all times. See what I'm saying? That's how you do it. You're supposed to drive like this.
And that's how she always drives.
We can't see you. There you go. Peekaboo.
Ew.
And we're so excited. Why are we excited? Because Sierra! She's not a camera person.
She's shy.
She's shy. Hello, Zion.
Hey, Dad.
This is one of Zion's besties.
She's one of my besties.
And we're going to go out and have some Mexican food. Kenya, you want to say something in Mexican? Well, Kenya is... That was
foolishness. That was foolish.
Hey, forgive me, y'all. That was really ignorant for me to say that.
Yes, you caught yourself. That's good. You caught yourself.
At least I caught myself. That was so ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
Forgive me, my Spanish brothers and sisters. But Spanish, can you want to say something in Spanish?
La comida de mexicano. La México. La comida de México.
I had some Oreo and leche.
What's leche mean?
No.
Leche
Milk.
is milk.
That's the easiest word.
If I said that wrong, forgive me. I'm still learning.
Yeah, like I cannot stand ignorance when it comes to other people's culture. That's why I can't believe I just said say that in Mexican. But Kenya, you're majoring in Spanish, right? Minoring Spanish.
This but it's going to start this upcoming semester. So catch me next season, y'all.
All right. So we headed to our Mexican spot. Mexican eating spot. It is delicious. We'll talk about it a little bit when we get there. On Deep Dishes. Say Deep Dishes, Ian.
Deep dishes. Say deep dishes.
Say Deep Dishes, Sierra.
Deep dishes. 1, 2, 3. Deep dishes. You look so good.
Look around the. Say Deep Dishes.
Deep dishes.
Can you say it while you're driving or look at the camera?
I'm trying to focus.
I say it. Say Deep Dishes.
Okay, deep dishes. Y'all so fake.
I taught him how to bachata. Let's see if he remembers. 1, 2, 3, go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. Yeah, I didn't teach y'all that. I didn't teach you them extra moves now. All right, let's see.
Hold on, pull my stuff down.
Oh, it's popping. It's popping.
I did not mean it. Don't leave it on.
I did not teach you that. But you get some black folks some Mexican food. They just act like they from the islands. You ain't.
Audio jungle. Audio jungle. Audio jungle. Audio jungle. Audio jungle. Audio jungle.
We fried beans, rice, and avocado.
Tasty Zion.
Chicken fingers and fries.
Really?
Childish.
At a Mexican restaurant, she
Y'all keep judging me.
got fries and chicken
Don't-
fingers. And this was actually Sierra's first time eating here, eating Mexican food. And what did she get?
Nachos, beef and cheese.
Nachos, beef and cheese, and a good old Sprite. And Miss Catania, what did you get?
I have a chicken fajita chimichanga with rice and beans. Yeah,
Yep.
it's good.
And I have the chimichanga as well with the steak. Okay.
It was in chimichanga.
It is. It's a fajita chimichanga with steak. And it comes with lettuce, tomato, sour cream,
I apologize.
Spanish rice.
Oh yeah, and then also what's inside? Bell peppers, onions.
Bell peppers and onions and steak.
All right, so you're gonna sign off for us?
Excuse me?
You're gonna sign off for us?
On deep dishes. Hello everyone and welcome to Deep Dishes. How y'all doing today?
We good? How about you?
Good.
Hi, people.
Blessed. In this devotion, we're going to tackle a tough subject matter, fatherlessness. It's a really serious subject. A lot of us have experienced growing up in a home without a dad. I know I experienced that. My father and mother divorced when I was about 8 years old. So it was tough growing up without a dad. I know.
Yeah.
What's your experience?
My mom and dad divorced when I was 3, and it's pretty tough. Pretty tough, you know. So we can dive into it and then kind of go.
Yeah. Well, we did a Mother's Day show, but we didn't do a Father's Day show.
Really?
And I think that's part of the problem is that there is such a celebratory mindset toward mothers, and rightfully so. But I think a big part of the problem is that even with Father's Day has diminished, and that's a issue. It's something that we should focus more on. And the fathers that are out there that's in the homes, that's not just in the homes but doing right by their kids, they should be celebrated. But I think this tone has been set around, you know, Mother's and Father's Day. It's just obvious that everybody just celebrate Mom.
I don't even know Father's Day.
No, we don't have Mother's Day. We have a week, right? People, right, ladies? Mother's Week. We changed that.
Yeah, you try that all the time. But these are just some interesting statistics that I grabbed as I was doing some studying. According to what can the federal government do to decrease crime and revitalize communities, from the U.S. Department of Justice, children from fatherless homes, check this out, children from fatherless homes account for 63% of youth suicide, 90% of youth runaways, 85% exhibit behavioral disorders, 71% high school dropouts, juvenile detention rates are at 70% with fatherless homes, 75% substance abuse, and this really hit me with aggression. 75% of rapists motivated by displaced anger from fatherless homes. So I really just began to think about this, and you know I love illustrations, and I was thinking, to me, the absence of a father is kind of like having a band without drums. You know?
Explain.
Well, if you, for a band, you can enjoy a band, right? A band can be, effective, but when a band's coming down the street, you need percussion. You need rhythm to keep the band in step. So the mother is important. You see what I'm saying? It's very important. But the father is equally important, because when I think of the dad, I think of the heartbeat. I think of the rhythm, the keeping things in step. Okay, so it's very important. You need both.
Right.
You know, it's not justice if you have a band without drums. Neither is it justice if you have drums without a band. Who want to just hear some drums coming down the, street? You appreciate it for a while, but after a while you be like, man, I'm ready to hear some.
Like them drum solos and jazz.
Yeah, it's like a long drum solo, and at some point you're gonna say, okay, I want to hear some saxophones, and I want to hear some brass. You know what I'm saying? So I think equally are important.
Right.
And I always tell the story about, it would be a horrible situation, but for sake of another illustration, if Zion's playing out on the road, and a car come by and hit her, your motherly instinct, the first thing you're gonna do is run to Zion, okay, and consider her well-being. As a dad, the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm going after that dude that hit her. I'm going after the car. Now, does that mean that I don't care about Zion well-being? It's just my love is channeled a little different because I'm a protector. I love her deeply. You see what I'm saying? So when you run to her, I'm like, man, I'm going to get the person. Let me go get the justice. I want to make sure we get the person that hit her, as well as her well-being. And that's the beauty of the balance, because if we only check out her well-being and don't go after the guy or the whomever the person is that hit her, that person can go and hurt someone else. So that injustice need to be dealt with, okay? As well as her well-being. And when I see that balance in a home, I'm thinking like, yeah, mom, you need that. But then at the same time, you need dad as well. And something else, I know I'm doing a lot of talking and then I'm gonna shut up, but I read this as well and it was very powerful. I came across this. It said, young boys who have a father figure are less likely to act out, and young girls are often more confident. A father can also help establish a sense of security and guide children to make wiser decisions. This is interesting. The difference in parenting styles is distinct. Fathers communicate in a unique way. For example, while a mother will often simplify her language to a child's level, men tend to tell it like it is with no change in vocabulary. Subconsciously, this can challenge kids to try and understand what they're being told, which can increase critical thinking skills and subsequently school and future work success. Discipline is another area where significant differences between mothers and fathers are seen. While women learn to be more sympathetic, fathers tend to be stern. Fathers like to enforce the rules with an objective perspective, and this can instill in children a greater sense of right and wrong that can last a lifetime. That might be a little different with black mamas, because black mamas discipline like that. Okay, and this was interesting too. It said fathers also help boys develop self-respect for women and make girls more comfortable around men, which was powerful to me. These are two very important aspects of a child's social development, especially in today's society in which gender equality and mutual respect are vital to success. So I just wanted to, shed some light on the importance of the father.
Right. I want to get from you, and I'm quite sure viewers also would like to know, what are some of your, being that you grew up in a home without your father, what are some of the effects, that you would say may play a role in your person today? Some things that you may have faced. How is it harmful, or, like speak to the people on not having a father in the home? And how did you handle it? You know what I mean? Like, kind of help give some of that balance as well.
Well, it affected me, I think, in my relationships with girls and women. You know, it, not that I was disrespectful per se, but maybe it could be under the umbrella of disrespect. But when it came to relationship, commitment, I had serious issues in that area, because when you often go through and see a tough divorce, you know, faithfulness, commitment kind of diminishes. So I found myself it being easy to not be in an exclusive relationship with girls. I would easily date 2, 3, 4 girls at one time, and it would just be effortless for me to do that. And I think that was part of it. I think also just I would say a self-awareness as a man, just dealing with who I am and my role and my responsibility as a man, as a protector, a provider. You know, I talked to you all about that. You know, when you meet a guy, what was the P's I told you about?
It was prophet, priest, provider, and protector.
Right. So I was just unbalanced, you know. And the priest and prophet part, we have to talk about that later. But far as a protector and a provider, I think I was a little off-centered in that area. I know I'm kind of dancing around, but I think my relationship with girls and women probably was the first, you know, phase that I dealt with. But then when I came to faith at a young age, you know, really the Word of God and coming to Christ is really what developed me into being a man and knowing what a real man is.
Would you also say that part of decisions as far as life, careers, or like having somebody to kind of guide you?
That was that was another tough part, because not having a father too, I didn't have someone to really sit down and, you know, have conversations about my future, the best direction to take. And what's interesting, I was looking at some statistics that was single parents, those families, it's a higher percentage when a father is not in the home, that poverty will, you'll be poor, you'll be impoverished. So that has an effect too, because when it just comes to decision making, you know, when you have a dad there who've experienced and can give you some direction as far as your future, or maybe, son, you shouldn't go that way. You know, you won't have to deal with so many situations where, you know, you're figuring out on your own, you know, because knowing often is better than experience. We experience certain things that we shouldn't have to experience if we know better. So when you have that dad, you know better. And it could be, I don't want people to take it as though like moms don't do that. It's just when God made it to have the two there, to have that balance. He made it that way. And when it's unbalanced, that other parent, of course, they're going to do the best they can. But the most effective and way is to have the band with the drum.
I was just sitting here thinking about, man, you got like cake batter, but you don't have the pan to pour it in, to shape it, mold it for when it's kind of baking. You know what I mean? It's like it's not going to form, it's not going to shape into a cake. You just pour it in the, first of all, we pour it in the oven. I mean, you get what I'm saying? It's like when you have like a cake batter and you put it inside of a muffin pan or inside of a cake pan or a bundt cake or whatever, it's going to shape that cake into the shape and form that it needs to be in. But when it's not there, then it's not going to take the form that it needs to take.
And when you have missing parts, it, you know, it's more likely to have tough situations. It's
Right.
not to say people are don't do well who come out of single parent homes. We did.
Right.
But when you have both, it's
Yeah.
just it's
I mean, it's just
more
tough.
likely you'll do well.
It's
you know.
tough all around, especially for me
But
personally.
like, how was that being a woman?
Well,
a little girl.
yeah, really, like my mom, she had to kind of hold down the fort for both roles, for dad and mom, and that was kind of tough growing up. But my mother, she made it work. But again, it would have been beautiful because with a girl, you always want to be daddy's little princess, or you know what I mean, and to be treated like a little princess. And when you're ignored or don't have that in your life, it's hurtful. And it took me, I don't know, I was a grown woman. And it's still in my mind. I mean, some people think, oh, you grown, you married or whatever, but those pieces still play a major part of wanting to have that father that you can, pick you up, give you a hug, tell you that I love you, or be there to show you that support. Don't get me started, Kenya. I see you. Don't even start crying. But as a girl, it matters, because who's going to tell you that you're pretty? Who's going to tell you that, baby girl, I love you, I got you? Who's going to, let me to meet my boyfriend and tell me that you don't need to fool with him because he's not right for you? I didn't have that. I didn't. And your daddy, when we first got married, it was rough. Because, I wasn't playing around with you. I grew up, you know what I mean? Like,
And that's interesting you're saying.
Right. I didn't know how to treat a man with, because I grew up seeing a woman being strong, had to play both roles. So it wasn't no foolishness. And I promise you, I wasn't having it. But that wasn't right. God literally, and that's the beauty of giving your life to Christ, because he paid the price for it all. I had to literally depend on God alone to teach me through his word, through trial and error, how to be.
What's powerful and what's very interesting about what you're saying, and it's a real deep dish, because like not having that father, it puts some pressure on the husband coming into that into the marriage, because then you can begin to lean more on your husband for things that your father didn't do.
Right.
And it puts pressure on that marriage. And what's interesting, it's like you've been in a band your whole life without drums, and now all of a sudden, boom, you got drums. You be like, man, you're too loud. I don't know how to march right, or you're not used to the way it should be.
Right.
So you begin to give pushback on the functional way, because you've been in a dysfunctional way so long.
Right.
So now you have to learn how to march with drums. You have to learn how to hear the drums and work together in the same way with me, not having a dad. You see what I'm saying? Teaching me about, loving a proper. So you and I both came into this marriage with a lot of luggage. We were two broken people.
Right.
But then God made us whole, and the gospel and Jesus was our blueprint, and the word of God for how to make this thing work. But it was shaky.
It was shaky.
Real shaky.
Come on now. We stand we stand together.
So that's heavy.
So Dad, like how is it like being a dad? You know what I mean? Like, since you didn't have that, like what is it like being dad for me and Zion? Like, is it really challenging? Or?
It's having, when you become a father, I would say the first thing hit with me was, the first thing comes and flooded my mind was sacrifice. A denial of self. And that's the first thing that hits you, like, yo, life is really not about me anymore. And then you have, these children now, and it comes, I never really thought about, if I'll die for somebody. You know what I'm saying? Of course, my wife. But then when you have, real talk, but when you have children, it's, you know what I'm saying? It's deeper. it's like a deeper protection. It's a layer of protection I have for my wife, but then with you all, it's even a deeper layer of protection. So I would say sacrifice, self-denial under that umbrella as being a father, self-denial, and that's the main thing, sacrifice.
Right.
And
Yeah. And I would
and
have
not
to say,
thinking about yourself, and
I think pretty much growing up with the two of you, raising both you and Zion, I did put a lot of pressure on you for what I didn't have. I was trying to force it, with you and the girls, which really wasn't fair, because one thing we can't do, and I think at this point we probably could, bring it in, but when we begin to, like, you have two individuals or people that's trying to get out of one another what you're missing, it will become a calamity, and it will cause conflict. And it's like give me what I need, and this is where the button heads, because we've taken what really isn't rightfully on either person, because it's not the responsibility of either one of us, you know what I'm saying, to fulfill what we're missing. We have to go to the source, which is God alone. And that's what I was saying earlier. It's like, because that's what's going to continue to help us grow and to walk and to love each other the way Christ loved each other, because I'm not pulling on you. Because if you're going to fail, I'm going to fail every day.
Yeah. And it's something I want both you girls to understand too. And people say this, I hear a lot of ministers say this, people say it, and it sounds real good, when you say, baby, you make me complete. Folk always say that, baby, you make me complete. And you got songs and people in a row, without you, girl, my life is incomplete. And all this stuff. So, but it sounds right. And I hear a lot of people say, like, you need another person. But see, that's, biblically, that is completely,
absolutely,
it's not sound, because I don't need my wife to make me complete.
Right.
I need God to make me complete. What does that say for a single person?
Right.
If we telling all the single people, oh, you need to go find somebody to make you complete, that's a lie from the pit of hell. God makes you complete. God fulfills you, okay? And then God will bring together two complete people to be one. But God, it's not like Tanya half and then I'm half and then we make a whole.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So when I said he brought two broken people together, we were broken, okay, but Christ fulfilled us, and then we became one. So you don't need no man to make you complete. The only man that make you complete is the man Jesus. And then you need to find a man that's complete in Jesus.
If
and then, right, and then you all come together as one. And just because we're complete in Christ don't mean we're not going to have challenges.
Right.
But you don't need to be looking like, I need a man to make me complete. No.
First of all, she don't need nobody right now. She's 13, about to be 14. You're not dating. We had this conversation before.
Okay, that's a whole nother deep dish.
That's a deep dish with dessert.
But I really want to just encourage fathers, encourage men. We have a crisis in our community, and that's just the truth. It is a crisis when 70% of our children are born in wedlock. I'm sorry, people may give me some pushback on that. That's fine, but we need fathers, we need dads, we need men to be committed and faithful, and to reinstitute and to make sure that marriage and we need that bond, that family. You know what I'm saying? The first institution before the church was the family. Okay, and that's something here on Deep Dishes that we're about and we will always fight for. And hopefully this answers some questions some of you all may have about dads and father. Listen to this, and maybe we should even revisit this, because I just feel that we can give more insight. You know, even me being a dad, you know, when you asked me the question about sacrifice and your issues you had without being a father, I think this is something we can revisit and give even more.
I think too that if you are listening to this program or you're watching this show, and if you want to talk, if you're going through a situation in life where this has happened to you and you really want to talk to someone, we are available.
Yeah.
You know, you can hit us up in the comment line, or you can send us an email, deepdishes0215@gmail.
And we'll put that up at the end of the show. If anyone would just like to talk, you know, my wife and I, we just finished our classes. We're professional coaches. So Catania also has her degree in biblical counseling. So
and life experiences.
And life experiences, that's the biggest one.
The biggest
life
one,
experiences. But you know, you've studied, and that has credibility as well. So we thank y'all for hanging out with us today on Deep Dishes, and be encouraged, and comment, subscribe, like, and share. Give us an email if you like to talk and conversate about some of these tough subjects.
Bye. We love y'all.
Blessed.
3, pause, clean, manger, and up. Hello, everybody.
Keep going, girl.
Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our duet portion. Today we're going to be singing Good, Good Father, because is that who he is?
God is good.
God is good all the time. Oh, wait.
Okay, and let's go with it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. to. Okay.
Right here on Deep Dishes, we just arrived at Los Portales, our favorite. Los Portales. Right here in the heart of our little city. All right, let's do the dance.
I need to get out the car to do it.
Wait, play my song. Dad, let me see your phone.
All right, on the count of 3, everybody, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Come on. Yeah. Hey. Huh? You gotta do.
Audio Jungle.